Morning.
Morning, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I've got the giggles again. I think it's that music that gives me the giggles. And halfway in between, it slows down and it goes, "Boo," and I'm thinking, is it giving up on me? But it's not really.
It's not. No,
No,
it is quite funny. You had a good week, Fan?
I had a really good week. I had my vaccine this week.
Oh,
Um, I
oh,
I felt absolutely awful.
oh, did
Maybe I
you?
shouldn't say
Okay.
that. I don't want to put people off, but I'm fine now. It's just 24 hours of horrendousness, and then it's okay. And then I saw two of my colleagues, which I will talk about a little bit later, in person. So that was really good. How about you?
Yeah, I had a good week. I had my vaccine like a few weeks ago back, and I didn't. I was fine actually. Um, I just had.
Mm,
I felt like I'd had a dead arm for a week. When
yeah,
you were at school and someone like generally the boys would punch you in the arm. I just felt like I'd had that whole week. But I'd had
it's
it's
because
funny, the different people have affected in different ways, isn't it? So
yeah. I've heard lots of different stories about it. Someone said if you've had COVID, then the side effects are worse, and then someone else said, "Oh, the extent to which the side effects you have means that if you would have had COVID, that's how bad it would have been." I was like, I
oh
don't
my
think
word.
any of that is true. I don't think any of
Oh,
that is
okay.
true.
No, it's
Morning,
funny.
Becky.
Morning, Becky. Morning, Matthew. Nice
Morning,
to have you.
Matthew. And Becky also felt dreadful. Good to know.
You're not on your own there, Fem. Well, they're rolling
No.
it out to 40s now, aren't they? I read it on the
Are
news this
they?
morning.
Oh, excellent. I need to get my husband booked in. Matthew had no issues at all. Yeah, that's so good.
Great.
Nice to know that we've all had it, though. That's really
Mm,
good. Mm,
we're all on the way forward for the next one now. So
yes.
yes.
Yay.
Anyway, shall we march on?
Yes,
So,
let's do it.
we were having a conversation in the week, weren't we, Fem, about obviously with the roadmap planned, and we're seeing more of our industry venues opening. What we need
Yeah.
to sort of probably consider uh, what does that mean to us when we need to attend appointments or host appointments and that sort of thing. So we thought we'd touch on this morning about sort of some points to consider when you are having a face-to-face or arranging an appointment, and just to really because we haven't done it for 12 months, it's just to reassess what we need to look at and what we need to do, because it's the simple things that you probably don't think about that we
Mm.
think actually we need to look at that. So but Fem, how have you done any appointments at all? What's your
Um,
experiences?
well, I saw two of my colleagues this week. I haven't done any face-to-face appointments with clients or anything like that because I'm really waiting for that to be properly kind of necessary, or I'm quite happy to wait another 2 weeks to the 17th of May where we can meet indoors or more
Mm.
is allowed. I don't have any particular reason to see anyone, so I'm quite happy just to wait for that, and other people may be different. But it was really strange. I went on the train to York this week just to get ready and to have my bag with me, my laptop in my bag, and just to get on the train. Everything was so weird. It was strangely familiar, but also really, really weird. And when I got to the station, I saw my friend. She was waving at me, and I did this really crazy jump in the middle of the station, like a lunatic. And I have a picture of me. She took a picture of me going "wah" in the air, and there's a guy, you can see him in the picture, just looking at me, going like, "What is she doing?" And then I forgot that I'm actually out in the real world. I'm not in my kitchen disco
You're
anymore. I
so
can't.
excited. You did remember to take your slippers off then.
I did. I was like, they're lucky I was dressed. So yeah, it was really fun, and some bits felt really normal, and then other things just felt really strange. Just when you get to a restaurant, all the kind of protocols and nothing was kind of smooth.
Oh,
They had to
really?
explain
Okay.
it. I didn't. The staff there weren't wearing any masks outside on the terrace, and I just thought am I supposed to wear a mask when I walk to my table or not? And they said, oh, we're not sure. And I was like, well, if you're not sure, how am I supposed to be sure?
No.
So there are things that are a little bit uncomfortable, which I would, if I met with a client, would want that kind of ironed out before I see anyone. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's interesting.
And what about you? You had an appointment, didn't you?
I did. I had an appointment on Monday. It was a client appointment, or potentially a new client appointment. And I didn't. I went in my car, so I didn't do the public transport thing. I'm still not sure how I feel about the public transport. But it was strange to think, actually, I've got to consider what I'm going to wear, what I need to bring with me, how, even work out how long my journey's going to take. All of this that we did 12 months ago completely naturally and just went with it. And now you've got to take a step back and think, actually, I need to, it's not a case of literally coming in from the living room into your office and on a Zoom call. It's a bit more organised. And it was interesting because I had I met with the client, and I wasn't sure. I left my car in the car park. Do I wear my mask on the way to the reception area? Because she has a wedding venue, so what is expected of me? And she met me. She hadn't got a mask on, and then we were like, oh, what shall we do? And we went and had a meeting in a very, very large, it's a converted barn with a massive boardroom table. I sat one end and she sat the other. So we were 2 meters apart, and we'd opened all of the doors and windows. Unfortunately, it was a really nice day, so it didn't matter. And we had coffee, so we didn't need the mask. But it was still that uncertainty. What do we do? As we walked in, should I have sanitized? There was a sanitized station there. Was that an expectation that I should have done? It's all of that it was a little bit unclear. Well, not unclear, but I just wasn't sure.
Was that her venue?
Yes, it was her venue.
So she should have known.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think over communicating in that instance is probably best, just to say, oh, I'm going to, yes, let's sanitize. Yes, let's wear a mask. Just overkill maybe a little bit. Becky said she's been out on a client to a client too this week. Woohoo! Just put in the comments. Yeah, put it in the comments, Becky.
Because it'd be nice to know sort of what other people, if they've been on appointments, what their experiences have been like. And just to find out whether they felt comfortable really, or whether they felt unsure, or were they instructed beforehand, or did they give instructions beforehand? So I know we said that we need to consider, I think we have to consider some hurdles prior to our appointments and face-to-faces. And a valid point is it a valid reason? And I think we're so keen to get out and meet and be with people that sometimes we have to take stock and think, actually, is it really a relevant appointment? Is it necessary? Because we can just, as we've always said, we always like to do business with the people we like, as opposed to the ones that are going to give us business. So it's worth thinking, is it valid? Have they got business for us? And is it if you're suggesting a visit or a client face to face, it's worth thinking about how they feel as well from their point of view, because I think empathy. I think we're going to have to show some empathy and understanding, and ask questions as to whether they're comfortable with it. I think we can't just make an assumption that everyone's okay to have a meeting or go to venue or whatever. It's quite key, isn't it, that we ask those questions, particularly because people. Sorry, go on, Fem.
Well, I was going to say, when I ask people, I kind of say, do you want to have a call, or we could even meet in person? And if they would go, yes, let's meet in person, then I would do that. But if they're not comfortable, then I wouldn't. So you're not actually suggesting it. You're not saying let's meet in person, just in case So you're kind of leaving it up to the other person to say, yes, I would actually really like to meet in person, rather than making that suggestion, because you don't know how they feel about it.
No, you have no idea.
Mm.
And we don't know what their circumstances were. They may have been self-isolating or have a family member that's had to shield within their household. So I think if, you know, and again, we've spent the last 12 months in a home office, and they might be very anxious and concerned about meeting up. So again, I think it's quite, like you say, key to maybe make that suggestion or ask how they feel about it in the first instance. Yeah.
I
think
well, I think it's all kind of in the preparation, really. The you know, even when I went out, and I just went to see one of my colleagues, but I really had to think about what I was going to do the next day. So I'm going on a train. So what do I need to bring? I had to bring my laptop and my chargers, and I hadn't done that for so long. But we spoke earlier as well, for example, about what are you going to wear? And I was lucky. I could just go with my casuals, because they were just other Helms Briscoe associates. But if I had to go to a proper work appointment and meet a client, I would really have to think about, you know, what am I going to wear? And really, well, yeah. I don't want
Sorry,
to
I'm not suggesting you put weight on, Ben. I was just making the assumption for myself.
But you're right, and I would make that assumption for me as well. I think I would want to try a few things on and go, okay, what do I have again that is actually work clothes that I haven't worn for a year? I have some really nice work clothes that I haven't worn for a year that I would really love to wear. And I don't know if I would wear heels. I just don't think I could deal with it. So how does that work? Like, what shoes are you going to wear? So yeah, all of those things I think you have to think about beforehand. But it's not just about the way you look. It's also about preparation of your brain. So I had a meeting with a colleague, and I could not think of certain names of, I'm not doing myself a very good service here, but I couldn't remember certain names of venues or people. And we were going through old prospects, actually, and we were like, oh, who's this person? And then we looked it up in our emails, and like, oh yes, we used to have loads of conversations with you, and we met with this person here, and I couldn't remember half of it. It's so strange. So when you have a meeting with a client, I think it takes extra preparation, but not just of what you're wearing and what you need to bring, but also what was the last conversation I had with this person? What was the last actual event that they had at this venue? When was that? And what was it all about? And when they postponed, what happened? And do they have credit with us? And really get your ducks in a row before you talk to them, because it's so easy to forget at the moment. Because I think I read an article about this recently, that we actually do have kind of COVID brain,
really,
or lockdown brain. Yeah, because your brain is stimulated by change and doing different things. So if you're always in the house, then you're not doing anything different. Your brain is just getting used to going from the bedroom to the kitchen, to the bedroom to the kitchen. And it was really odd when I was on the train. I told you about this group of people. There was a group of people, and I was just getting to my seat, and they weren't wearing any masks. There was about 8 of them sitting together, and they were just chatting, sitting next to each other. And my brain just went, and I stopped, and I just stared at them, and then I thought, what am I doing? And I still don't know how they were allowed to be on the train like that. And the announcements kept saying, you have to wear your face mask. And initially I thought, do I need to wear a face mask? And then it was so strange. But everything new experiences and change is just a little bit different on the brain, if that makes sense. Yeah.
And did they put their face masks on in the end, or did they not bother?
No, they didn't.
The duration of the journey, where were they going?
Well, they didn't go to York, because that's where I got off, so they must have gone to Edinburgh or somewhere up there, all the way from King's Cross. So it was just bizarre. But yeah, things like that, you kind of, everything doesn't feel quite right when you're out in the real world. It's bizarre.
And also you then question whether you're, like you said, you question whether you're supposed to wear it, or what you know, and the thing is, you don't want to then be the one that's saying, hang on a minute, why aren't they wearing it, and almost police it because it's not down to you, but you're thinking,
No.
so yeah, very odd. I didn't know. Yeah,
No.
very strange. But interesting comment. Go on, sorry.
From Becky. I'm going to put Becky's, but that's going to cover her face. You have to go off. Hi. So Becky was at a gym and fitness clients, so slightly different to my normal clients, but they are obviously open now. I did ask if I needed a mask, etc., but they said not. If it was a social distance, they wanted to meet in person. One thing I did make me realize is that I will continue to lots of appointments on Zoom, as it takes up so much more time than meeting face to face. Yes, and we spoke about this as well. It's really to think about the value of meeting in person versus virtual. We know how to do virtual now, and we could do it really well. So why travel somewhere when you don't have to? And I think there is a definite value in meeting someone face to face, and we've known that from a whole lot. Yeah, I know that, for example, I have a stronger relationship with the clients that I have met face to face. That's just the way it is. And I know now that they are the ones that come back to me when they need something. So, but it doesn't always have to be that way. You could definitely mix it.
I've obviously during lockdown we've had lots of Zoom calls and meetings, and I found that when I've actually linked in with someone and said, fancy a Zoom coffee chat, and actually met via Zoom, that I've obtained more engagement than I would have done if it was a simple email that I sent to them saying it was lovely to link in with you or whatever. And so I think you're absolutely right. I think appointments, face-to-face appointments, will always be the best way forward. However, because we've been forced to do these virtual appointments, I also think that they've got their own their place as well. That's a lot better than what a cold email would be, particularly on like on a one-to-one, where you can actually really hone in and speak to them and see their facial expression and everything else, and all of that whole thing that you don't get when it's a written email. But with a view that eventually, when you do get to the point where you can actually meet them face to face, that it's going to be easier. It's just going to gel really nicely. So I think it's given me certainly a really good sales tool to get in front of people. So, and then people have been, I don't know about you, Fem, but people have been very open to having that 20-minute Zoom call. Very rarely anyone said no, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, I think so. And actually, I was going to ask you, do you still have Zoom fatigue?
I don't. I try not to do too many in a day, I have to say. I would limit it to probably 4, because otherwise come the afternoon, I generally talk rubbish more than I do normally.
Well, I was just thinking about it, because I don't think Zoom fatigue is as bad as it used to be last year, but I think it may also have to do with the content of the conversations, because obviously last year everything was a bit we were on a bit of a downer, whereas when you meet people, it's just quite a fluid, nice conversation, whereas at the time it was just like, oh, we're postponing that. So maybe it has to do with who you're meeting and what you're talking about as well. We just blamed all of our problems on Zoom when it wasn't. I'm just going to read Sandra's comment. I won't put it on again because it will cover our faces. This is a bit different, but as I go to church, the churches have been open throughout this last lockdown. I've been greeting people at the door to make sure they use hand sanitizers. Everyone's got very used to meeting people and wearing face masks inside, and relieved to see other people in real life. As all of our services have been live streamed, everyone has had a choice which has been very important. I think people will soon be comfortable with well-managed events. Yes, I think so. I think
You're absolutely
so too.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And fingers crossed with the view of what's happening today in Liverpool, where they've got that trial event. I don't know how many people is attending that are that won't need to wear masks and are meeting up. It will be interesting
It
to
was
see what
last week.
happens
It was
there.
this week. It was
Oh,
this week.
I heard it on the radio that it was today. There's another event tonight.
Oh,
today.
maybe another one. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But there was the other one on Wednesday. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, definitely. I think we'll find a way to make events work again. And actually, that brings us quite nicely onto the lateral flow tests, because obviously they did lateral flow tests before the event. And Amanda didn't know this, so I don't know if everyone knows this, but you can just pick up lateral flow tests from your pharmacy. They're free. So I have a pack in the house. And I think a nice touch would be if you met with a client to say in the morning before we're meeting, I'm doing a lateral flow test. And that just gives, I know that there is a little bit of, talk about false positives and things like that, but that would be more safe than not doing it. So if you are going out on appointments quite a lot, and especially if you're advertising that, on social media as well, I think it'd be make your client feel safer if they know that you've done a lateral flow. It doesn't cost you anything. It just takes a little bit, 30 minutes, then it's done, and you can say, I did that this morning, and then they feel maybe more comfortable meeting. And I would certainly say, from the venue point of view, you can get lateral flow tests as a business. You can get them personally. So if you're back in a venue, you're doing site visits, to say, yep, did my lateral flow this morning. That's what people do who work in a care home, and that's what kids do that go to secondary school. They all do it. So Lynette says, yes, we do them once a week as your daughter at school and traveling to London for ballet. Simple and easy too, and such a great idea. So yeah, I think
it is good. It is a great idea. Yeah.
Matthew ordered his online. I did too. I got them in the post because I'm lazy and I didn't walk to the pharmacy, which is just down the road.
But like you said, it's a really nice, comfortable thing to say to your clients or people that you're meeting face to face. I will do a lateral flow test before I meet with you, and obviously if it comes back negative, positive, then obviously I won't meet with you and let you know. But I wonder, from a client's point of view, then whether they then feel as though they need to do one. Whether the pressure's then put on them to think, oh, okay, she's done, or maybe I have to do one.
And up to them, really, I suppose.
It's up to them, yes. But I like I said, I was when you mentioned it in the week, I was surprised. I didn't know any. I thought it was open for the school children, but I didn't know everyone could obtain. So again,
you can book them online. You can get them online. Just put lateral flow test from the NHS, or you can go to your pharmacy and just pick them up. And my friend went to the pharmacy and he said, "Can I have 4, please?" And she said, 4? That's quite a lot. But they come in boxes of 7 or 8. So she thought he wanted 30. So she thought he wanted 32 in one go. She's like, "Can't give you 32, but."
okay.
So just
I
so
didn't
you know.
Boxes. That's good as well. Yeah. Really good. Good to know. And it just offers that assurance as well, I think, and just it means that you're taking ownership as well of making sure you're safe, and that in itself has got to cross as very, very good, and the additional brownie points and everything else for your meeting. Absolutely. So I'll be all.
The other thing that we thought of was that there's a fine balance between meeting people that's completely necessary, and that you have to make sure that there's a value in meeting them. But actually, if you're going for your first 1 or 2 appointments, why don't you pick someone that you know quite well? And it doesn't have to be a friend, but someone work related, but a client you've been working with for years, and you say, yes, let's meet for coffee and do a bit of a practice round. And because the conversation will be so much easier and the flow will be there, and you don't have the lockdown brain issues because you know this person really well. Or if you do have a lockdown brain issue, then
It's not going to be embarrassing.
No, it's not going to be embarrassing because they know, and you can just, you know, you can just explain what's happening. But also then you start building up your kind of business talk again, and then your brain will get back into it. So I think that's a really good idea. Just practice with someone that you feel more comfortable. Don't go in with a big bang with a new client who, you know, where the pressure is on. Just do it with someone that you're a little bit.
No, that's a really valid point as well, isn't it, Fem? That you have that, so you can build your confidence. You can prepare as you would for normal, and then see how you flow. And hopefully, with doing a couple of those, you feel really good about actually attending future appointments as well. So yeah, very good.
Yeah. Another top tip. I'm
reading the comments.
Okay. So if you have a venue or a business that's doing something a little bit different, especially if you're meeting, I know it's only really 2 more weeks until we can hopefully meet people inside actually. But if you're doing something that I know a lot of people have had pop-up terraces and pods and picnics and all of those things, if you do have an appointment with a client, invite them to that aspect of your business, because they can then see what you've done, and you can take pictures, put it on social, so you have kind of the whole package in one. Because sometimes, you know, you're selling something different, people haven't tried it yet because we haven't been able to do it. So just to showcase it, I think that would be a really nice touch.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of examples of what that would look like.
Well, for example, one of my clients has got an outdoor pizza oven and fire pits. So, you know, for example, you'd encourage, hopefully, your appointment, if the weather's nice, to be outside with the fire pit on, and you know, maybe say, look, we have pizzas that we can offer and that sort of thing, and maybe join us for an outdoor al fresco slice of pizza or something along those lines, which would be good.
Yeah, exactly. And then they can rave about it. They can see that you've been creative, and other people can see that as well. And I really hope, I was in this hotel in York, and they had you know, normally they just had the front garden, which was just basically grass and a few chairs, and they'd completely redone it with these really cool kind of wooden kind of decking areas, and then they had a fire pit with lounge chairs around it, about 8 chairs around it. So in the evening, you can, group of 6 actually at the moment, sit around the fire. And I asked them, are you going to keep all of this? And she said, I'm not sure if people would take us up on it after they can go back inside again. And I said, definitely, I would go there. I think it looks great. Like York looked completely different because there's so many places with really nice umbrellas and heaters, and I would still go out there and sit there with a blanket in the evening. That's so much nicer than going inside. So I'm hoping that will stay. Yeah, I think so. Sorry, digressing slightly.
We are, we were saying also that going back to the preparation of client appointments and what you need to do. I know prior to this lockdown, back in July, when I was with clients having appointments with my consultant hat on, when I was in venue, what I used to do prior to the appointment was actually send them a we look forward to seeing you information card, and it was quite a lengthy email actually. It wasn't a card, but sort of along those lines, and it detailed from the beginning of their journey. So that I put in the Google directions how to get to venue, where they should park when they arrived, and what to expect when they literally walked through into the hotel lobby, that there will be sneeze screens at reception and at various food and beverage points, that there would be a temperature monitor that you would be asked to go up to and take your temperature, as well as the track and trace banner where we'd ask you to take it to track and trace with your mobile phone, and we'd say along the lines of keep minimal baggage, keep it in your car because we won't store it. So, you know, a lot of appointments, they bring their laptop and then they bring their handbag, or and you go, right, well, I'll show you around, but would you like to leave your laptops with reception or whatever? Well, we'd say, no, leave that in the car. We don't want to store that, and concierge doesn't want to store that sort of thing. And explain that I will be meeting you. Unfortunately, I can't shake your hand. However, there'll be a smile underneath this mask, a welcoming smile. And we'd really, you know, we'd ask you to let us know what you'd like for refreshments beforehand, so it's ready there for you. All of that sort of thing. And again, it was just about ensuring that the client felt comfortable prior to their visit, knew what to expect, and knew how to behave and what was expected of them when they too were there. So I think that's quite an important thing. And if you wanted to be really smart and really impress, you could, for example, send one of your venue's branded face masks or a little bottle of sanitizer to say, look, you know, hand sanitizer, or we're looking forward to seeing you. Here's a few gifts, a few items that will help you with the visit, as well as the whole details of what's required. So I think that's quite a nice idea. So again, you just ensure
really impressive.
Yeah, your guest or your clients face to face is as we've said at the beginning of this, they're assured as to what to expect, you know, rather than not sure whether we wear face masks, what's going to happen, do we sit outdoors, or, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So we're running out of time, Amanda.
Oh.
So I think in summary, so it's like over prepare, over communicate, and make sure that there is value in meeting face to face, and a bit of practice with someone who you feel comfortable with, because lockdown brain is a thing. So if you want more top tips about welcome back to sales, which includes a larger variety, well, you're doing it, Amanda, so you might want to give a quick overview of what's going to be included.
We're touching on the whole buying cycle, look at readdressing the buying cycle, SWOT, what you should do in terms of virtual appointments and show rounds, and your LinkedIn presence, and how you proactively sell and prospect. A whole load of topics we're covering in 2.5 hours on 13th of May. Myself and the lovely Becky will be delivering that, and we've just popped the link in the chat there. So yes, have a look at the link, and if you're interested, it'd be great to have you on board, and it will be really nice to get everyone back on track in terms of what they need to do with going back to the venues and selling. So there we are.
Yes.
And then next week, quickly, I'll just say next Savvy Says is with Kate and a lady by the name of Shanna Kay, who is a life coach, and they'll be chatting away about creating a winning morning routine. So that sounds really interesting. So
Does that include children?
I don't know. It might. Well, I'm sure with Kate it probably will do. Yes. So nice to see you all. Have a lovely bank holiday weekend. I hope the weather's kind for everybody. And thanks for joining us.
Bye.